I'll be reading three selections. First, a few pages from a novel I intend to publish later this year called Condor Shadow, as Leslie just alluded to. Second, a piece from a collection of linked short stories, as she also said. Third, another piece possibly to be included in that same collection. I'm not really sure yet. Finally, if I haven't run out of my allotted time, which I probably will, perhaps a bit from problems of translation, the novel she just alluded to, I'm very happy for the praise that is gathered from its readers, and some of whom I know are in this audience tonight. But first, from my recently completed novel, The Condor Shadow, on a depleted gypsum mine in the California foothills, a 15-year-old boy named Travis Mackey shoots and kills a man. Frightened and uncertain, he runs away, moving from town to town and state to state, changing names, changing states, changing towns, changing jobs, unable to connect with anyone for fear of being found out. In the following passage, Travis is now 19 and has changed his name to Robert Porter. For the past 4 years, he's been working side by side with a remarkable young man from Mexico. Alejandro has become like an older brother to Travis, certainly the closest friend he's ever had. The time is 1956. It was early morning. Alejandro had just finished tuning up the Essex when Robert asked, "How much more time you think we have on this old buggy, Alejandro? How many years?" They were on an apple orchard just outside of Renton, Washington. The picking season had just ended, a day earlier than expected. Most of the workers had already left. A few still slept in the bunkhouse. "So long as I'm around, I can probably keep it going for a couple more, Roberto. But it's going to start getting mighty difficult to find parts for fit this old girl. There are bound to be collectors out there for fine old machines like this. Check the newspapers. With the money you get, you can buy you a good used pickup and still have lots of money left over for a rainy day." Robert smiled and looked concerned. He held his hand out and looked at the rising sun just a few inches up over the Pacific. "You expecting rain?" he said. It was a joke, of course, but in focusing their attention on the horizon, they spotted a cloud of dust streaking in their direction, bearing down fast, 2-panel trucks approaching at breakneck speed. "Holy shit," said Alejandra. "Robert, rouse the guys in the bunkhouse." "Ay, rota cabron, it's too late." They were already in the yard, a swarm of them, tumbling out of their trucks, cuffs dangling. Several sprinted for the bunkhouse. They took one look at Robert, made him for a gringo, and passed him by, clamping Alejandro in handcuffs immediately. Out of the corner of his eye, Robert saw that one fruit picker, Antonio, from their crew, had fled through a bunkhouse side door and was sprinting through the orchard, only too soon to be tackled and taken into custody. Robert watched in helpless silence as the men were loaded into the panel trucks to be taken away. Just before the doors closed, he saw Alejandro bring his fingers to his lips and twist them like a key turning a lock. Even without that gesture, he knew his secrets were safe. But he vowed at that moment never to share the burden of his past with anyone again. He entered the bunkhouse. Bedclothes and possessions were in disarray. He lingered over Alejandro's tidy bunk, which his friend had made up promptly upon rising that morning. just as he had always done, seemingly so long ago at the Skyline Motel Lodge in Sequoiaville. Standing in the bunkhouse, staring at Alejandro's bed, he made a decision. No more grain harvest. No more Yuma. No more San Joaquin Valley. It was back to the high country for him. The Condors were calling. He would look around in the mountains. He would become a logger. As he turned to go, something caught his eye, the corner of a book peeping out from under a pillow. It was the book of poems by Alejandro's father. He rummaged further. In the nightstand he found Alejandro's Lorca, containing the poem whose famous line he had first recited to him. He would take both volumes, knowing his friend would have wished this. They were Alejandro's parting gifts. He started to open the Lorca, then stopped, because he realized he knew by heart the lines he was seeking. Las lágrimas amordazan al viento, y no se oye otra cosa que el llanto. Tears smother the wind, and no sound can be heard but the weeping. Thank you.